Here we go, Monday Scrum. Adam Peacock with Brent Read and James Graham, who did the road trip yesterday and looking sprightly enough after the road trip back.
Not feeling sprightly. How are you feeling, Jim?
Look, I felt better.
Jimmy was a backseat bandit on the bus. You know, the bloke who
It's
sits
his
in the back.
birthday, and I know he didn't want to bring it up, and I don't like.
Oh, yeah. it was a fun meal that we had.
Yeah, it was
the
a good
time.
meal, yeah.
You went up there.
Jimmy ordered, took ownership. Ordered,
It was imposed upon me, so
Yeah.
I felt like I did okay with my food selection. Lots of positive feedback.
Hoops ordered the drinks, though,
Yeah.
which is always dangerous.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was honestly some of the conversations that were had at the dinner table,
Yeah.
on the drive back.
Anyone surprise you with what's rattling around in their brains?
It's a motley crew.
Mm.
When you're with that crew, nothing surprises you, I don't think.
Yeah. Ganane with his theories is interesting sometimes.
Dangan's a very interesting
He is.
person. Very interesting.
He's got opinions that he doesn't hold back. So
Mm.
that's why he's an interesting guy to be around. Anyway, we're going to talk about the footy and what's ahead this week, what happened on the weekend as well, without dwelling too much about the ins and outs. And Ricky Stewart said at the end of his press conference after Canberra's heroic near win in Newcastle that he didn't want it to be the headline act of a game and it shouldn't overshadow the game of footy that we've just witnessed. So we're going to start the show today with Jack Wighton's bite. But all seriousness, guys, what do you reckon is going to happen with Jack?
He'll go straight to judiciary.
Yeah, he's been referred straight to
I
judiciary,
imagine. And look, obviously for me it is kind of awkward. I've been involved in that type of situation before. And yeah, look, it's really interesting to see what happens over the course of the next 24 to.
Well, I think they're trying to get the
48
hearing
hours.
pushed back to Wednesday, Jimmy.
Mm.
Obviously, because Jack's probably
For sobriety
celebrating
reasons. Yes.
the end of the season. I think they're trying to get it pushed back to Wednesday. They're trying to get Nick Gabar, who's the judiciary whisperer,
Is he?
involved. Yeah.
Is he a KC? Is he?
What's Casey?
That's the old
King's Counsel.
QC.
King's Counsel.
King's
Oh,
Counsel.
okay. No, I
Yeah.
don't think he is.
No,
Nick.
he's not.
He goes
at
pretty
level.
good.
Yep.
Yeah, well, he used to go pretty good. I think his strike rate of late hasn't been great. But
Oh,
no,
really?
no one wins at the judiciary anymore. You just don't win. And Jack, so the NRL reached out to Newcastle this morning about Tyson Gamble to see whether he'd give evidence or a statement.
Have Canberra reached out to him as well?
I don't think they have. But, I mean, Tyson was pretty clear after the game yesterday. He didn't want to go on with it, wanted to be left on the field. He's got a game to
You
prepare
went
for.
straight for him, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Beeline for him, yeah. Went for Jack as well. He brushed me.
Oh, well,
Twice,
fair
actually. He
enough.
brushed me twice. I went at him twice. Once with the cans on, once without. But they've notified Newcastle they'd like a statement from Tyson Gamble. I think the response has been, look, he doesn't really want to go on with it. He's got a big game to prepare for this week. And if he gave evidence, he would then have to make himself available, I believe, for cross-examination on Wednesday night. It's probably the last thing he needs heading into a big game across the Tasman. So they won't. I'd be stunned if he provides any evidence at all. And then it just comes down to the video footage, which was pretty compelling, and the referee's report.
Well, Jack's argument was that the arm was in his mouth, wasn't it? And it was forcible. So,
Well, the key to the whole case is whether or not they can pick apart and have the good enough vision to see if Jack's mouth goes down onto the arm or the arm comes up onto the.
The bite
it
marks as
all-
well, obviously. I'm not sure whether sometimes they get photos of that stuff, but I don't think they would have.
Gordy Tallis,
on
who
the
was
weekend.
in this very studio earlier today with Footy Talk, was saying that there's two different ways that you can look at it. It's like, no, he was actually
Well, no, this happened last
Yeah,
night because
he
Gordy
was-
was showing
he was
us.
doing that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was
yeah,
biting
at the
his
dinner.
arm
Yeah.
and then shoving his arm
While
in his
waiting
mouth.
for the spring rolls to come out, he was okay.
He was, yeah. I'll tell you what, he's pretty, again, it was pretty compelling as well because he did shove his arm in his own mouth. And
He's done it for the
Yes.
last
he
24
has
hours.
some teeth marks.
He's going to do it on 360
So
tonight to Buzz Rothfield.
maybe that's what Jack should do in the hearing. He should just
Yeah.
open his mouth up and shove his own arm in there, or get maybe the prosecutor and say, "Give me your arm."
Yeah.
Or shove it in his mouth and say, "Look, that left a mark." I don't know.
But look, again, like it has dominated the headlines, and it was a real turning point in the game as well.
You felt that at the ground? That
Oh, mate, you could see at Newcastle, it sparked them into life. It really did. Really, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, Canberra were dominating the first half. Second half, the sort of first 10 minutes was a bit back and forth, and Newcastle were a little bit clunky. Still couldn't quite get into sync, and then that was the incident that really sparked them into life and brought them back into the game. And then it was an unreal game. Like it was so entertaining.
It was brilliant.
It brought the crowd back into the game too in that second half, because Canberra had been on top in that first half. It was pretty clear, and even the opening 5-10 minutes after half. I can't remember what minute it happened in the incident, but the 5 or 10 minutes after half time, the Canberra was still sort of on top in that game. You could still feel that the crowd weren't really into it. But the minute that happened, they just went nuts.
Yeah.
And then they scored not long after that, from memory.
Well, they went pop, 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 didn't they?
And then the crowd was right back into it. But it was a huge moment in the game. Huge moment.
So Newcastle, it's weird. Okay, you look back on it and you go, okay, they've had that catalyst for a turnaround, getting the crowd involved. But overall, Jimmy, their performance, how far removed from the great run that they've been on was that type of performance? And was the occasion the reason for it?
Look, it's a difficult one because they've had some big games there anyway. The game against South, the game against the Sharks, they're two big games. And they performed really well. They were up to the test that time. But I think, this time around, they'll be better for the run against the Warriors because of they've gone through this experience now of knowing what finals is about and knowing they for them going into. I felt they underrated the Raiders.
Yep.
A little bit of disrespect there, perhaps about. I think they just thought, well, maybe not disrespect the Raiders. It was just we just need to turn up and win. But it wasn't about applying their processes. It was just we're just going to win here. Then they lose Jackson Hastings, and even to start the game, it was a copy and paste of what we've seen Kalen Ponga and Greg Marju Brabham best combination. It was. I think they just thought, we're just more of the same.
False sense of security.
Yeah, and the Raiders fought their way back into it.
They got bullied a bit, didn't you think, Jimmy? Canberra a lot more physical.
Yeah. It looked like it meant more to Canberra than what it did for Newcastle. That's what it looked like in the first half. And I think it's a good reminder, a shake-up of reality for Newcastle going over across the Tasman. And they dodged it. In my opinion, Jamal Fogarty, the field goal at the base of the scrum, I think that's the chance.
Stand further back. I heard you in the call. So
that's the chance.
Was Tyson
Tyson Gamble from the base. Great play from Gamble.
Yeah.
Outstanding awareness from him. But I think Fogarty had really liked that moment back, and then
so would the Canberra front row, by the way, James.
Yes, to hold him in,
to block him.
Yeah,
there's no reason why they can't just stand up and say, "You go around us, not through us."
Yeah, well, even with Canberra's field goal set up, I think we spoke about it in the commentary about having that second kicker. So Fogarty had an attempt at a field goal in regular time, but there was no second option for him. We see it so many times where player catches it, he looks like he's the target, and then he'll switch it back across the ruck to somebody else to take it.
Fully on his left.
They're under no pressure.
Yeah.
I think if Canberra had their time again, they'd employ those tactics, especially. But look, it was chaos out there, like absolute chaos. Like we're here, 20 hours post game, like discussing what we do under no pressure. Like it was chaotic. It was an emotional occasion. Do or die. Like I get why they perhaps weren't as cognitively aware.
Reedy, did you see Ricky after the game?
I didn't, because I had to get on the bus.
So
I had to
on the
leave.
Cusp bus. Yeah, you didn't see.
I would have thought Ricky would have been really proud of the way they played. Actually,
he said it about 8 times in his press conference.
Okay. Yeah. And deservedly so, because they had so many players missing as well. When you consider they went into a enemy territory, seething crowd of, I think it was 29,000. No one, and he's right, no one expected them to win. We all thought they'd get smashed, to be honest. And then play the way they did and almost snatch it. I mean, I actually sent Don Ferner a text late last night, and said, you should be really proud of the way your guys played today because it was immense the way they performed. And they got something to work with. I know they'll lose Jack Wighton next season, but they're in the market at the moment. And some of the kids have got an opportunity at the end of this year because they had so many problems. They're going to be better for it next year. Young Tomoko's a gun. The centres. I think things are looking up. People think after Jack goes, it's all fall apart down there. I actually think things are looking pretty promising for Canberra.
Yeah, I agree with you. And again, just looking back to that game, in 3 minutes, they lose Puru to a HIA. Like, it was a tough ask, and for them to play 90 minutes when they were down to 16 players, already missing Horsburgh and Papali'i in the middle of the field, it was a gutsy effort. And
then Tapane. I heard you guys. Like, it was a hard
when
call.
He stayed down.
Stay down, get the pen.
It's the right call.
He did his job.
Yeah.
He did his job, and that was to give our teammates a chance to win the game here.
Do you know what I would have done if I was Canberra, though? Just these little things. Delayed the hell out of the restarts, like in between. Yeah, give it another 2 minutes. The ref won't know going on. In half time of the 5 minutes.
In real time.
Another minute. Because it's a real time. It's a stopwatch, isn't it?
That's clever, yeah.
But
didn't think of that.
Anyway, it's hard. Again, clarity at the moment.
Yeah.
But Tarpany stayed down and give his team an opportunity.
Yeah.
To win the game. And even, so much to talk about from that game. So many incidents. It's obviously dominated by the Wighton biting allegations. But then I think what was really positive, it was an offside decision, a penalty in front of the sticks, but it was the correct call.
Yeah.
And well done to the match officials for recognising that. And it's difficult to blow those type of penalties in that situation. But I thought they got that one right.
Not the biggest fan of the rule, though. Because if Kalen hangs onto the ball, it's a 6 again.
Oh, okay.
But I think there's been a couple of those where with this 6 again rule coming in, it's taken away the penalty. Obviously, takes away the penalty, but the referee's got discretion there, and obviously, you want the penalty. But I just wonder whether even I would have loved to have seen what would have happened had Kalen Ponga kept hold of that ball, whether or not he would have gone, no, actually, I'm going to award the penalty. Because there's been a few, actually, the Roosters-Sharks game, a 6 again was given to one of the teams coming out of their own end. Like on about the 30-metre mark, which is a penalty, which obviously then gains you the advantage of kicking the ball down the field. So, look, it's a hard task. They're not going to get everything right, match officials, but on that particular incident, I thought...
Ashley Klein followed the letter of the law. I'm just getting to the point where one day will you see, say, Kalen sees the 6 again ping, he just
drops it on purpose,
drops the ball in front of him and goes, well, the pen, thanks.
He'd be within his rights to do that.
Yeah. I'd suggest if it was that obvious, the ref's probably not going to give it. He'll probably play a knock on or something, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
If he did something like that and deliberately lose the ball forward, there's probably
what's deliberate?
Rule in the game is about
you just
doing
trip
that
over
anyway.
yourself and drop the ball and look like an idiot, and then look up and go, oh no, it wasn't 6 again. He was just scratching his armpit.
Jimmy's right. There's so much going on in that game that for the referee to pick that up, get it right,
big call.
Because if he gets it wrong, we're talking about him today.
It was correct
as much as Jack Wighton. So. He did really well in that situation. Now they go to New Zealand and the script sort of flipped, isn't it? They're
100%.
the mortal enemies going over there, and they're going to have to deal with all that crowd giving it to them. And they've been very vocal over there. I mean, that's going to be a full house at Mount Smart.
Yeah, so it's a 6 p.m. local kickoff.
Yeah, 4 o'clock here.
4 o'clock here. So I don't know. Would they want it a bit later? There was even talk a couple of weeks ago that, they're going to have to kick off at 10 p.m. over there for TV over here, but thankfully that's been avoided.
It's perfect for Channel 9, runs right into the news. We'll all be watching Fox, of course, but,
Of course. All listening to Triple M.
But for the gibberers who are watching 9, they can...
Not on the footy show anymore, are you, Reedy?
I'm not. I'm free, baby. I'm independent again.
3 months ago you wouldn't have said that.
No way.
No chance. Hey, Roosters Cronulla, that was amazing, but I don't reckon incredible, because I could see, Jimmy, I don't know what you think, 20 minutes into that second half, even though it was all going to pot at the back for the Roosters. Tedesco binned, Manu off, Suali'i was already gone. It was almost the case of if Billy Smith doesn't just say that he's negative, so you could activate Corey Allen to get him on, to get a body at the back there, but they survived it. But I just thought the way that they were going straight through the middle of Cronulla when they had the ball, the Roosters, had them primed for a victory like that. I don't know what it is about the joint in the last 6 weeks, and I keep on bringing up your little mate, Brandon, but he was fantastic.
He was enormous.
Again, Lindsay Collins, enormous. The whole pack for the Roosters, enormous.
Some big moments as well from their leaders, the charge down from Tedesco, the charge down from Keary.
And they were on side as well. I looked at it.
Walker's ice veins to nail the field goal. But look, from a Sharks point of view, they blew a massive chance. They blew it. And they'll know that.
There was one in the second
I'm worried
half.
about them, Jimmy. I'm worried about the Sharks.
I don't think they're going to get a better opportunity. And they will, go on to win finals games, you'd assume in the future. But in recent times, they're not going to get a better opportunity to beat the Roosters in knockout football than what they had on the weekend.
There's something missing there, though. In big games, over the past 2 years, they haven't aimed up. And I think I was talking to you about it on the weekend. I reckon in big games, big players stand up. And they haven't had anyone stand up the past 2 years in the big games. So I'm wondering whether that's what they lack. They lack as good as Nico is.
Yeah.
Right. He hasn't really owned it on the big stage.
Well, there was one incident in that second half where I felt for him because they had it all set up. They had to play the ball about 5 or 6 metres to the right-hand side of the post. Nico was calling for it. He's clapping his hands. He's going, yes, yes, yes. And they went blindside. It was on the fourth. And this was when the Roosters had lost all their bodies on the right side of their defence. So Nico had a play lined up for about 3 tackles, and they went the other way. I just wonder how, I forget who was at dummy half, but how the dummy half and the rest of the leaders in the team don't recognise that Nico is the man
needs the ball.
who has to have the ball there.
Yeah.
They froze in the moment.
Or does Nico need to be more
I don't know what more he could have done.
decisive,
He was
more
squealing
demanding?
for it. I don't know. But like Matty Johnson's got a theory about, he said it on his show last night about Cronulla, is that they play a final like they go through the process of a regular season game. They actually don't elevate their intensity. I don't know if you've noticed that, Jimmy, or is it something else? Is it a personnel thing that they need a couple of other things sprinkled on top there to make them better in the bigger games?
Look, it's an interesting one that about rising to the occasion, because I can't remember one of the listening to a very successful coach from another sport, and the name escapes me, but they described big games as we need. Actually, no, it was a psychologist. He'd worked with a number of the teams, and he said we want a regular performance on a special day. The only thing that changes is the day. Our performance stays the same to what we've done all year, and that's kind of how like Penrith approach their games. Like it's a regular performance, but the day is special.
But not put in fast forward a little bit, the intensity ratchet up a bit? Or do you see that week in, week out from Penrith?
See that week in, week out.
Maybe they
Penrith.
don't. I'm not sure Cronulla have got another level.
Maybe.
They haven't had it for the past 2 years. I don't think there's another level in that.
There's
team.
not another gears in them.
No.
There's no other gears. Yeah.
No.
I know it's a difficult one. I guess again, you could look to other personnel, but they're in a bit of a tricky spot. Cronulla, I think we spoke about it on the show yesterday. They've got some big decisions to make if they want to, in terms of their roster. Like they've got good depth, but they've got a lot of the same-ish style of players. And whether or not they need to look to sacrifice in that department or in the department where they've got more of the same and bring in that genuine X factor. Like, so Jerome Luai came up on the show yesterday, and obviously he's a free agent for season 2025.
Yeah.
I think that the Sharks would be one of the teams that would look.
Geez, him and Nico would be a good combo.
I wonder if you looked at their spine and compared it with all the other teams that are left in this comp right now, they're the distant 7th. Look at the spines of all those other teams. And as I said, big fan of Nico. I think he's a really good footballer. and I really like Blake Brayley. I think Blake Brayley could play rep footy down the track. But if you stack that spine up against Melbourne, stack it up against Penrith, stack it up against Brisbane.
It's behind on that
behind
pecking
all of them.
order,
Stack it up.
and they're still all like really, really good footballers.
Yes.
Like Tracy, Trindle, Kennedy, but they're not in that as high echelon as
It
some
just
of
lacks
those.
that little bit of wow factor about it.
Mm.
A little bit of superstardom.
Well, the Roosters have it.
Yeah,
because their big players stood up, and isn't it weird? 3 months ago, certainly not from I don't think people behind these microphones, but there was murmurs about James Tedesco and where he's at, and did the Roosters actually move him to accommodate Joey Manu at the back? Well, far out. Anyone who says that now, just give him the 5-minute highlight tape of Tedesco on Saturday night and just go, you kidding me? You kidding me? The thing that's really hard to line up, though, this week is Newcastle going over to the Warriors, who got tapped up by Penrith, and Melbourne, who copped it from Brisbane, trying to line up them against an undermanned Roosters, but a Roosters team full of confidence, even though they're missing some key personnel. I don't know what the hell to think of it, Jimmy.
Well, it's really interesting but both semi-finals this weekend, you've got two of the one team on each side of that were battered and bruised in a grueling encounter, but came out by 1 point. And the other two, their opposition, they were battered, but the scores ran away. So, and they're very different perspectives to go into. So, although the Storm and the Warriors were defeated heavily, that doesn't take as much as a physical toll on you as what.
So you can bounce back quickly mentally in this situation.
You're a little fresher.
Yeah.
You have to look to move on. I think looking at the Storm particularly, the Pappenhausen blow was horrendous, but that had the potential to completely take the wind out of the sails of the Melbourne Storm. If that news is as bad as what we thought it was going to be, it's been positive news. I think that lifts the energy in the group. I really do. I'd be worried about the Storm had Pappenhausen got the fears were confirmed, but it's not been that way, and that can lift the spirits of an organisation. And it also had the potential to completely deflate them. So, the Storm will be happy with that. And yes, Brisbane were all over them, but they can't play that bad again. No. Surely,
no you wouldn't imagine it. Yeah,
Grant, Munster, Hughes, they can't be as uninvolved as what they were.
Yeah.
Have you spoken to your man, Pappy? He's
your
man.
I haven't spoken
to him. Did the big comeback one?
No, I haven't. I've tried. I haven't reached out to him directly because I'm sure he's getting inundated by text messages. But
has he had surgery?
He's had the surgery. Yeah. Look, I mean, as Jimmy said, it's a lot more positive than what they thought it would be when it first happened. He should be right to start training in the new year with the rest of the team. So he'll do pre-season training. He fractured the fibula, which is the better bone to break because it's not the weight-bearing bone, and he damaged a ligament. But really positive signs for him, and it was a bit of a heartbreaking moment, I reckon, for everyone in the game. Well, everyone in sport really who watches sport or enjoys sport to watch it happen. But to hear he's got some positive news out of it, that's all you can hope for, really.
What happens with that as well? Because obviously you got your preferred surgeons, and he's done it away from home. Did he fly back?
I think they called in a specialist up in Brisbane to do it.
Up in Brizzy?
Yeah. He's quite renowned. I think the Broncos got involved and they brought him in to do the surgery. So I'm not sure that he's even home yet, actually.
Still up there.
I'm not sure, but he's
you feared the worst when the green whistle came out straight away. Man. It's like, oh no,
it was terrible. And look, I think he feared the worst. Well, I know from talking to people who are in the sheds with him, he felt like he was actually apologising to the Melbourne people, saying, "I'm sorry," and they were so mate.
Well, for me, the scenes of him on the stretcher in tears.
Yeah,
it's like, and obviously the green whistle sort of normally calms people down, but he wasn't crying tears of pain.
Yeah,
it was tears of devastation.
Yeah,
like it's hard to look at a man that's crying, that's gone through, injuries and sport. I say this all the time, but rugby league, it's a made-up game with made-up rules, but it can make grown men cry because they can't have they think they can't play it anymore because of an injury.
Jimmy's right there. You watch that game, you think, oh, I'd love to be playing Melbourne next week after that, just because of everything that happened, the way they played, how bad they were, the emotion around Paps. But then the Roosters go out and play their game. They lose Manu, they lose Swalihi. And suddenly I'm thinking Melbourne are probably watching that game going, geez, I'm glad we're playing the Roosters now. So
was he Cat 1, was he? Swaley?
Swalihi, yeah, he got ruled out
Definitely.
at half-time, yeah. And he's had a previous concussion in the past 3 months, whatever, so he cannot apply for an exemption.
Got to give a massive congratulations to the Roosters on how they handled that situation. Very easy to brush that one under the carpet.
Yeah.
Very easy.
Yeah, because it was a half-time, wasn't it?
That was a club's imposed HIA, not independent doctor. And a club can fall into the trap of leaving it to the independent doctor, but a trainer witnessed it, did a test on him at half-time in which he failed. And that, for me, is a club going above and beyond. So I know things are in the news at the moment around management of concussion protocols, etc., etc. But the culture is changing. There is a shift, and that speaks volumes to it, because in years gone by, that ain't happening.
Yeah.
His teammates aren't accepting that. His coach isn't accepting that. Mate, you carry on. It's changed. It's changed for the good.
Yeah. Big call. Massive call. The footy, the two playmakers, the two friggin' maestro conductors on the weekend, Cleary and Reynolds. So Cleary, seriously, they're both playing behind a pack which is going forward at a bazillion miles an hour and controlling the ruck so well. But it's one thing to get the opportunity, but it's another thing to actually take it time in, time out. The way Cleary is able to time his passing to whatever else is going on outside of him, and like the right amount of steps, 2 steps instead of 3. You see it sometimes. A playmaker
He only
gets
needs
too
one
close
boot
to line.
as well.
What's that?
He only needs the one boot.
Exactly. It's just remarkable. And Adam Reynolds is making everything look like it's in slow motion as well when he's got the ball in his hands at the important time. They've set themselves up. Can you see anything but a Brisbane Penrith grand final at the moment, Jimmy?
I can't, but I really hope for everyone's sake that's the final we get.
After another 2 weeks of good footy.
Of course. But that's the final we need.
Yeah.
Like the two best teams going up against each other. I think if either of those sides don't make it, that it's
heavily weighted for the other. Yeah.
But with these two, that's genuine excitement for every single NRL fan out there. Like I know last year the Panthers played Para, and Para had a bit of hope, but the game was done within 20 minutes, really. And this game, I hope both teams can stay fit. I hope both teams play the final. It's hard to look past, but oh my goodness me, it'll be a cracker.
Yeah. They beat you in different ways, don't they, Cleary and Reynolds? Like Reynolds is more death by 1,000 cuts. He sort of does. It's those subtle plays that he comes up with, the dropouts, and that dropout he came up with on Friday night just changed the momentum of that game. He's just
chase back as well. Tried save.
He's just a master. He's mastered his craft. Whilst Nathan is already so good at it, but I mean he's still learning, getting better every week. So different sort of players, but man, they're both playing. So Reynolds has been such an inspired signing for that footy club. He's changed them completely, transformed them. He's the right guy at the right time in that club's history. They had all those young blokes who just needed a leader and a guy to show them how to play, and he arrived at exactly the right time for that footy club. And Jimmy's right. I mean, I just can't see anyone else playing in the grand final the way they're going.
At the moment. We've seen some monumental boilovers in prelim finals.
Well, they would have to
previously.
be monumental boilovers because they're going to smash each other this week, those 4 sides, and Penrith and Brisbane will be waiting there. Potentially Penrith get Luai back, potentially. They're just going to be waiting, watching, and hoping they do smash each other to smithereens.
Are the Warriors getting Sean Johnson back?
I would think so. I mean, I think I'm not sure how close he was last week, but I would have thought he comes back this week. And they need him badly. Yeah, badly. He's their version of Reynolds and Cleary, right, this season. So probably going to win the Dally M. And they're a different team when he plays. So it's the last throw of the dice. Now they've just got to put him in there.
Yeah, for both these sides. So if you don't know the schedule, it's Friday night Storm Roosters, Saturday Arvo Warriors Knights. That's because of the time difference. So it's a 4 p.m. kickoff, Sydney time, Brisbane time, Melbourne time as well for Warriors and Knights, so there's no Saturday night footy. And then the week after, I think it's the Friday night, Penrith are hosting the prelim final at a venue TBA against the winner of Melbourne Storm and the Roosters, and Brisbane at Suncorp Stadium on Saturday night against the winner of the Warriors and the Knights. Have we got a fill-in for the TBA yet, Reedy, or are you saving that for mail?
No.
Don't have
Well,
mail?
it depends on the result of the Melbourne Roosters game. So that I can only assume that means Allianz Stadium's in play, and if the Roosters win, they won't want to play the Penrith won't want to play the game at Allianz. So I imagine that's what's at play.
Shark Park available, just in case I want to play it down there.
Can you never play another finals game there, please?
Yeah.
Ever?
Why?
Oh, Jimmy. 30. What do we have there? 12,500 or something?
12,500.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
Mate, I'm in Dobbo. Don't start me. We should repeat what Dobbo was saying about the Shire.
Mate, there's everybody.
Well, he's from Mossman. Dobbo.
Lots of
of course.
And if you don't know
Not
Mossman,
a lot. Look, from where I come from, I like the Shire. It's paradise. I genuinely.
you've never been in Northern Beaches.
I
Yes,
have,
no,
but I
clearly.
don't live. I couldn't afford to live there. I don't want to live there with the snobs.
One of Des's houses you could live in.
Everyone's so pretentious.
Ivan's got
That's the
a few up
eastern
there.
suburbs, my friend.
Mate, come on, you got to get with the real. I'm in the Shire. I'm like, this is like, I pinch myself. Wow, like this is where I live now. Oh my, it's unbelievable. And then have these other areas of Sydney siders come down. Oh, it's so far. Oh,
It's a long way.
It is a long way.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
the beauty of it, though.
it's not if you live there.
That's true.
But you can't be having finals with 12,000 people at
No,
them anymore.
embarrassing.
Surely.
Let's not go over that one.
Come on.
No, these the rules.
They are the rules.
We
Bad
knew that.
rules,
We knew
Jimmy,
this.
bad
Well,
rules.
okay, but why are we talking about it now? We knew it was going to happen.
It's a good point. I'm with you.
Like, we knew it was going to happen.
Rectify the rule before the
Sometimes,
season.
sometimes things have got to happen for people to realise how stupid they are.
But it happened
rule
last
is.
year. It happened last year as well. The Sharks had two games. Did they have two
No,
or
they
one?
wouldn't have two.
Yeah, the first. Yeah,
Yeah.
they had the first one against the
Yeah.
Cowboys at Shark Park.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're waiting.
Anyway.
So Penrith's venue is dependent on the result of that game
That
on
game
Friday
on Friday
night.
night, yeah.
They can't
Storm
play
Roosters.
at their home ground though, can they? The Panthers. It has to be
No.
at one of the
Yeah,
biggest.
It's one of the
stadiums.
bigger grounds, yeah.
won't be at week 2 of the finals onwards. You're not in suburban grounds. Put it
Yeah.
that way. You're in bigger stadia.
Yeah.
At
Bigger,
what point?
bigger than 12,500.
At what point does a suburban ground
Become big enough.
become big enough?
Well, I'd say 30,000 is the threshold. So Newcastle would still host.
Yep.
If it was theirs, but 20,000.
Cowboys
too many
still,
people.
Cowboys still host if they have a prelim.
They got 30. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway,
Hmm.
got a quick take, Jimmy, on Storm, Roosters, Warriors, Knights. We have discussed it a little bit,
I
but
know,
I mean,
mate. I'm going to go Roosters Knights.
Oh, wow.
okay, 2 away teams. So you think the bounce back ability
Sorry.
of Melbourne and Warriors are
Bounce
not
back
there?
ability.
I'm going to bounce back ability. I'm going to flip
Great
that.
word.
No, I'm going to go Storm Knights. Sorry, I'm going to go Storm Knights. I've got to
Storm
reconsider. Storm Knights. Yeah, my apologies.
Okay, I got Roosters, Warriors. So
Have you?
total opposite.
I'm with Jimmy. Storm Knights.
Yeah.
Storm Knights for me too.
Okay,
Yeah. I think
Oh.
the Storm are specials.
happy to take you both on with any investment.
And I reckon Kalen will get the Knights over the line.
Me too.
He's singing.
Can I put an asterisk next to my tip?
No,
Sean Johnson dependent.
no asterisks.
He's got to
mate.
play.
No asterisks.
Well, Cameron George did say on Triple M on Saturday Arvo that if this was all on the line today, he would have played today. So I'd only imagine another week.
Yeah, he'd be fine.
Well, it is all on the line
Yeah,
next week.
he'll be right.
No point in saving him. No
No.
point in saving him.
No.
WTF moment of the week. Here we go.
Now, the WTF moment.
Guys, do you watch Hard Knocks?
Yes, love it.
No.
So it's NFL preseason. They do really well with it.
Great show.
They put a whole heap of cameras embedded with an NFL team in the preseason only, right up until the start of the season. This season is New York Jets. Have you seen it?
Yeah, what's the first 4 episodes?
Yeah, so 5 just lobbed last night. I
Oh,
watched it last night.
I'll watch it tonight.
I won't spoil it for
Yeah,
you.
don't spoil it.
But Aaron Rodgers, 39-year-old quarterback, legend of NFL football. You've heard of him,
Yeah.
Jimmy? Yeah, heard of him? I wasn't sure if you were across
Yeah,
the NFL.
all over it.
You're your fantasy man, so you
Yeah.
know exactly who he is. He, halfway through, he brought up the time he met an old friend at the training ground. He goes, "Oh, this is my buddy from back in Cal and everything like that. We once saw a UFO together."
No.
He went through for 2 minutes. Have a look at Hard Knocks. It's on KO.
You should watch it. It's
through
very
ESPN.
good.
It's really good.
You know what? Look, there's a lot of sporting docos out there at the moment.
Mm.
I don't have the time.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know how
Well,
people watch so much TV.
October, November, when you get to it, when you got your downtime, if you do have downtime during
I
off
just
season,
get out and do stuff.
you can get out and do stuff.
That's
Like,
Have a
go
look
for
at
a
this.
run.
It's pretty good. But a UFO.
yeah,
He just
that's-
and point blank, he spoke about it for 3 minutes, and he told the whole story of the fighter jets chased it away, and
You
all
just
these
said
things.
you wouldn't
It's like,
spoil the 5th episode for me. You just give me 3 minutes of it.
oh, is this in the 5th episode? I thought it was in the 4th.
No, I haven't seen that bit yet.
Okay, it's in the 5th episode.
I'll
Sorry,
fast
mate.
forward through that bit.
No, have a look at it and
Yeah,
tell me
well,
what you
watch
think
it.
next
Yeah,
week, Ready.
yeah.
Have you got a WTF moment of the
Yeah,
weekend?
I'm going to go with Val Holmes.
Oh, it was just salt for his tequila, surely.
I went up to Newcastle on wherever it was. Look on the phone. Twitter starts going off about Val Holmes.
This
and
is not
I'm
good.
just thinking,
When
Val,
social media-
what's doing, buddy?
Oh, dear.
Anyway, so, well, I might do a bit of mail on that. But, I mean, obviously, yeah, that's
Save it for mail.
Yeah.
Have you got one,
That
Jimmy?
caught me off guard.
Yeah.
Any birthday presents which were WTF or anything like that?
No.
What did you get for your birthday, Jimmy?
What did I get?
Apart from a few beers
Yesterday
on
was a
the,
long. Can I
the
just
bus.
point out that yesterday was a really long day for James Graham and the Triple M crew because they had a road trip and a dinner and a road trip back, and I don't think it was a sober bus, if you know what I mean.
Actually, I got a really good book I'm looking forward to reading.
Oh, cool.
By Peter Attia. The science behind longevity.
Longevity in life.
Yeah,
Full
to
stop.
increase.
You told me about that. You told me about
increase.
that book
Yeah,
on the bus.
yeah, increase
Yeah.
lifespan. And health. Sorry, increase. How to increase health span?
Ah.
Your lifespan, like past the average.
Health span. No, how to increase your health span?
Well, it's lifespan,
Or-
isn't it?
No, there's a difference between lifespan and health span.
What's the difference?
Are you- well, your lifespan is your like years or days or time on Earth. Your health span is how
Healthy you are.
healthy you are for as long as possible.
Yeah,
because obviously,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm with that. I don't want a long lifespan. I don't want to get to 100 years old and be able to not even walk down the hallway.
Well, that's it. You
I'd
want to
rather go
increase,
at
so,
90
so
or
you
85.
want, so you want to increase your health span.
Yes.
That's what
Quality,
you want to
not
do.
quantity, James. That's what I want now.
You
in
want to
life.
increase your health span,
Okay.
and that's what this book is about.
Well, I'm
and
going to
that's
get the
what I'm
name of the
reading.
book and I'm going to write it down and I'm going to go and get the book. There you go. And hopefully someone can get it for me.
What else did I get? Got some barbecue like tools.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Yeah,
Luke,
bit
Luke Brooks like present.
Bit
Love
sexist, that isn't it?
Barbecue
I
tools.
think
for,
that
like,
you're in the
Like
barbecue.
it as a present.
What about some tongs for the kitchen?
Yeah. Well, imagine if like I got my missus some like cleaning material,
Yeah.
like
Did you get like an apron? One of those aprons with a funny saying on the front
not
or
an,
something?
not an apron
A
guy.
mop.
Have you got
Yeah.
an apron? Do you barbecue in an apron?
No,
No. Okay.
no. Normally shirt off.
Shirt off. Okay.
Well, that's
right.
smart.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you
Normal
just ruined your
shit.
shirt.
Yeah.
It stinks.
Hmm.
Of barbecue. So it doesn't stink. It smells kind of nice, but you know I don't want to ruin my shirts.
Fair enough.
But yeah,
you
usually
could wear an older shirt when you do it.
it's a lot of change.
Yeah,
Like,
a lot of work. He just wants to get his rig out.
yeah.
That's fair
taking the
enough.
shirt off, put
He
the
goes
shirt
to the
on.
gym.
You're doing that anyway.
yeah.
It's an extra shirt change, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah. But then I got to go upstairs, got to get the shirt.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Have you got a WTF moment, by the way?
Yes, I have. Yes. Enough about birthdays. I'm sure Owen will edit that out. Anyway, the Spanish FA president at the
Luis Ribales.
yes, the kiss finally has resigned.
Yeah.
As if it took that long. Like, come on.
So the
Like,
final
we,
was
we
on
knew we knew it was gonna happen. Like, as if you. What? How long's he pissed around for? Like 3 weeks.
3 weeks since the final. I'm just looking at it here. Yeah, 3 weeks since the final.
Wow.
Yeah,
Like, as if it took that long.
off he goes. Finally. Mailman time? Yes.
Reedy's Mail.
Ready?
Well, I mentioned the Val Holmes stuff before. Obviously, caught us all a bit off guard on Sunday. He's meeting with the NRL today, talk about what happened or what didn't happen, that it was a prank gone wrong. Apparently that's what he's suggesting.
Gone down that path. Okay.
And it's interesting because he's on holidays, Val, he doesn't. So the NRL has an illicit testing policy. They could test him potentially during the season if they were worried there was some sort. I mean, Val's going to deny there were any illicit drugs involved and so on, which you would expect, and we're not suggesting there were. But during the season, they obviously have a testing program. Val was actually on holidays when this happened. Once the season finishes, that program stops. So the NRL's powerless to sort of, if they wanted to test Val to make sure everything was kosher, they cannot do that.
So, they can't test him while on annual leave.
While on annual
same
leave.
AFL, same NRL.
So Val's off limits from that perspective. But, I'm not sure what can come out of this, really.
Can he receive a strike?
No, I don't think he can. No. And I mean, as I said, he's, as we understand it, he's denying there was anything. It was just purely a prank. He posted on Instagram out of mistake. It was a mistake. Wasn't meant to go on there. And I'm sure that's, what he's going to tell them today when he has his meeting with them. And, it's interesting from another perspective. And I'm pretty sure Val's in the Mel's train-on squad for the Kangaroo Tour, for the Tri-Nations Tour that's coming up. So whether Mel, I'd be interested to see what sort of view Mel takes of this, because Mel's been pretty outspoken and pretty forthright about player behaviour, and while you can argue about what the photo involved, it's obviously brought the game to a little bit of disrepute. So, there's a few things to play out there, but I think they'll want to get it over and done with pretty quickly. The Cowboys will, and I'm sure the NRL will. So I expect some sort of resolution this week on that, and I actually expect it to fizzle out, to be honest. I don't think it won't be like the Melbourne one from a couple of years ago. This one, I think, just get the sense this will fizzle out pretty quickly.
Well, finals are on, so and they've been out like two amazing games of football.
Yeah.
Obviously, also complemented by two fantastic rugby league football teams. They're the headlines.
Yeah. Speaking of one of those teams, Canberra obviously went out yesterday. It was Jack Wighton's last game for that club. So Canberra's been in the market for a 5'8". I mentioned on this show a couple of weeks ago that they were talking to KO Weeks, the young kid at Manly. He's played a bit of fullback there, but he has played 5'8" for the New South Wales under 16s and 18s. He played alongside the likes of, I think, Schuster and a few of those other guys in that rampant New South Wales team. I believe he's going down to Canberra this week to tour the facilities, meet with Ricky and so on and so forth. And if things go well, then I reckon it's only a matter of time before they announce that Manly let KO Weeks go and he signs with the Raiders, and he'll be the short price favourite to start next season at 5'8" for Canberra KO. And I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. There's big raps on him. He was a really talented junior footballer. He's had a little bit of taste of first grade, hasn't really grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck, but I think Canberra are pretty optimistic that he can resolve one of their big issues heading into next season, which is that number 6 jersey. So he looks like he'll be the man. I know Jack Wighton didn't play 6 at the weekend, but he spent most of the year at 6, and I think KO will be the man to fill that void next season. A bit of movement, I reckon, at the Dolphins. Ewan Aitken's had a pretty good year up there. He's contracted for next year, but my understanding is he's on the radar of a few clubs at the moment, a few rival clubs. As I said, he's got a year to go. And I think if you can get a longer-term deal somewhere else, and he goes back to the Dolphins, there's a chance the Dolphins they want to keep him. They see a role for him next year. Obviously, Herbie Farnworth's going there, so he won't be in the starting side, but they see him as like an ideal utility guy on the bench. But I'm not sure they're willing to extend his deal at the moment beyond next year. So if his management come back to them in the off-season with a longer-term deal, then they've got a decision to make. And the other big guy is a mate of yours, Luke Thompson. Now his commitments to the Dogs are over. I reckon this might accelerate a bit his future, Jimmy. I think we've mentioned it before, Dragons, Tigers, and there's a little bit of interest apparently from the Roosters. Now, obviously the Angus Crichton news has come out in the last 48 hours or so that he may leave at the end of the season, depending on what happens with rugby. If that happens, they've got to upgrade a couple of blokes, Terrell May, Siwa Wong's an obvious one. They've got to upgrade those guys, but potentially if they get some money out of that deal with Angus leaving, then they may take a look at Luke Thompson.
Well, that'd be a impressive middle rotation with Lenu, Collins, Hargraves, and Thompson.
Not bad.
Handy.
Not bad. I think they might be. I think the others might be a bit more firm in their interest, but apparently there's been some conversations held.
Interesting. Brent Read, you've got to go because you've got to get to a press
I've
conference.
got to go to the Roosters.
You've got to go there. So sort
Speak
out
to
there.
one of Triple M's finest, Luke Keary.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Thank you,
Thank you.
Reedy. James Graham, thank you
Thank
very much.
you.
And that was the Monday Scrum. Enjoy footy this weekend.